Hello, everyone. This is Pause for Parenting, brought to you by Paradise, Parent Education for Development in Barbados, and this radio station. I'm Cicely Clark Richmond, Director of Paradise. Paradise is a non-governmental organization established with the primary goal of addressing the challenges faced by parents and families in Barbados. Assistance is provided through a wide range of programs, which include classes in parenting designed to educate parents in all aspects of child-rearing practices to help them to positively impact the lives of their children. Paradise promotes strong, cohesive family life, which includes working towards life goals, imparting values to promote positive family life, and practicing work-life balance to include entertainment, reading, play, and to bring balance to life. Paradise also provides private and confidential individual and family counseling. These sessions are designed to assist clients to identify the root problems affecting them. Our other flagship program is the Community Outreach Program. We will be happy to assist your organization, be it a school, place of employment, church, community, or sports groups, to talk to parents and young adults about parenting. Call us at 427-0212 or email us at admin@paradise.org with your requests. We also offer a parenting class where you can learn how to keep your child involved in positive, wholesome activities. Classes are held on Wednesdays between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. and Saturdays between 9:30 and 12:30. Today on Pause for Parenting, we conclude our focus for now on the work of the Child Care Board. During the month, we looked at foster care, residential care for children with special needs, neglect as well. In this program, we will look at the importance of play. Yes, you heard me right, play in the life of a child. With me to look at this is Miss Gail Carter, who is currently the preschool educator at the Child Care Board. Welcome once again, Miss Carter. It's really good to have you here. You're looking very nice and beautiful, I must say. Audience, she's really looking really nice. We wish you could see her.
Thank you.
Anyhow,
it's great to be here.
Yeah, so before we get into our subject, this very serious subject of play, give us an idea how the month have gone for the board in terms of the activities that were planned, and how they came off, and just give us an idea.
The month has gone very, very well. Last Saturday, we had our variety concert at Solidarity House. There was a packed crowd.
Very good. I missed
the
it.
children displayed much. There's so much talent in Barbados.
Yes, there is.
We really have to applaud ourselves as a country for the talent that we have. And we've had our foster parenting workshops. We have had
a hike too as well, I remember.
Yes, there was a hike on the 13th. We would have ended our month of activities with a family funding and healthy lifestyle extravaganza, which was held at Dighton Griffith School.
You're feeling that Barbadians are getting to better understand the work of the board and what you do?
Yes, and I think that is important in terms of getting persons to understand, the public generally to understand how the Child Care Board factors into everything that happens in the nation. And I think throughout this month, during Child Month, that we were able to bring a little more public awareness to the role of the board and some of the other activities outside of what people generally think about when they think about the Child Care Board.
True. Okay, so let us talk about this, what I think is almost synonymous with children, play. And I actually looked it up. And the definition says, engage in activity for enjoyment and recreation rather than a serious or practical purpose. But I really want to debate that, because from what I understand and been hearing, there's a very serious purpose for play. It is very, very important. So why is it important? Why is play important in the life of a child?
I think before we even get to why play is important, persons need to understand play.
Okay.
Because, we have a concept
of what play is.
of
That
what
is true.
play is.
So break it down
and
for us.
when we think about play, for those of us who've been socialized to think that when your parents say go outside and play, they're telling you to go outside and run boat and, so we have a vision of play that does not encompass the holistic development of a child.
Yes.
And so you will have situations where parents may ask a child, well, what did you do at preschool today? What did you do at nursery? And they say play. And parents are of the opinion,
I pay my money for this?
Exactly. All you're doing is play. Every day you come home and you play. But we want persons to understand that there is a lot of research that goes into play-based learning. So when we say play is important, play is the vehicle through which children learn. In order for children to be able to do all the things we want them to do in terms of think critically, problem solve, reason, all of these things, we have to allow the children to play.
And adults too, but children.
And adults.
Yes.
And funny enough, only this morning I was having a discussion with my children, and I said to them, we tend to take play out of a child's life too early.
Yes.
And we don't allow children to be children long enough. So when I was growing up and you took the cushions and you made a house and you took the mattress
and the sheet and made
and you took the mattress that was just a piece of foam and you folded it in half and you had like a little cave.
Of course.
We were allowed to use our imagination. You cut up the hibiscus flowers and add a seasoning for your food and different things.
And you make the mud pies. And climb the soursop tree.
Those are things that children don't get to experience now.
No, for
and
sure.
so when children play with their toys, when they're playing with their Lego, when they're playing with their tea sets, they're learning and they're developing in every aspect. They're developing intellectually, they're developing socially, they're developing physically, they're developing spiritually, they're building language, they're building reasoning skills. So when we look at play, we have to look at play through through a different lens.
Definitely. I read that playful learning can start with a baby's smile. Is that true?
Absolutely. And that's why it's important that even as you are feeding young infants, that you are engaging in smiling, your facial expression, they're feeling that energy. Children, we talk about mobiles, and mobiles is something that I like to talk about, because when a child is in the crib or the cot and they're looking up and they're seeing this thing, they're developing something called tracking. Right? Because they're looking at it as it moves.
Goes around,
So their visual, spatial relationships, they're starting to develop those. And those are things that are critical for reading and writing. So you see, it starts from very, very early. So we should don't dismiss play. Let the children play, give them their toys. Use things around the house, the empty boxes, the tissue paper roll. Let's pretend to be pirates. Let's dress up. All of those things are important for development.
All right, so let's break this down some more in terms of the benefits. What are fine and gross motor skills? And talk to us about the relationship between these skills and children's development.
So let's start with fine motor skills. And how that is built through play. When children fix puzzles, when children play with close pegs, just the whole notion of picking up something. You remember as a child we used to pick rice? Yeah. Fine motor skills are the foundation for being able to write. So we automatically think that as soon as a child gets to a particular age, we want to put a pencil in their hands and we want to know if they're writing their name. But if they're not doing these little things, the peg puzzles, just fitting that piece into that space, those are the types of things. Picking peas out of rice, using that close peg and using the thumb and the pointer finger just to be able to bring that close peg open and close. Those are things that build fine motor muscles and that are important for writing. And then when we think gross motor now are the large muscles. So you're looking at jumping, running, climbing. There are children in 2023 who do not know how to climb the ladder to go down a slide. And these are things that we can easily take for granted. Right? We want to be so protective as parents that we don't want children as soon as they run and but they have to be able to do those things. Let them run, let them jump, let them hop, let them skip. those are the things that build those large motor muscles. Exercise, head, shoulders, knees, and toes is a great song that we learned when we were growing up. All of that is using gross motor muscles. And if children are going to be able to move and move effectively, they have to strengthen those muscles.
What about walking outside barefoot?
Walking.
Yes.
Just you know, you hear people talk a lot about I don't like shoes, personally.
Okay.
You know, but before, these are things that we did
naturally. Exactly.
You know, and we automatically think that as soon as a child, yes, we want to be safe, but we don't want to make our environment so sterile that we are limiting our children in terms of their development.
I mean, I'm just thinking now in terms of, like, obviously you don't want, as you said, children to get seriously hurt, but in terms of even getting a call or getting certain things that help to build your immune system, and we don't want nothing to happen to our children at all, but really we're doing, I would say, almost more harm than good. Because the doctor will tell you that you need to build up your resistance, and how are you going to do that unless you get something?
Unless you come in contact with some bacteria. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, from time to time we get, in terms of nursery, we get, you know, a mother bringing a child who's like a year old, and the child has been home with granny for a long while, and obviously everybody's situation is different, you know, but then that child now has to learn so much. I mean, yes, he was well protected at home with the relative, but in terms of social skills, again, talk to us about that. As I said, we you know, everybody's situation is different. We can't tell you, you know, what you need to do, but in the sense that, you know, if it is better for you and it can work for you in terms of keeping the child at home, but I would think that a better place for the child is an environment where he or she can help to develop those skills that we're talking about.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing that play does in terms of that social development, because when children play together, they're learning how to share, they're learning how to cooperate, they're learning how to work together, they're learning how to function as a member of a group. And so these are things that, yes, that would happen in the daycare setting, but it doesn't negate the fact that even at home, that child is a member of a group. And so there are things that you can do at home. As you said, everybody's situation is different. So if it is a situation where the child cannot be in daycare and it's better to be at home, there are things that you can do at home to also build that child socially. Have conversation, play with the child. So they're learning, well, it's my turn, and then after my turn, you'll get your turn, and you take turns. So that when they do get to the point now where they're in that setting, that they have those social skills. So just because they're not in that setting from very early, it doesn't mean that they can't develop those skills. We have to create that environment that allows them to develop those skills. And it's very concerning that lots of parents now do not have conversations with children. Children learn language by hearing language. And Cicely, you'll be surprised to hear, we have a lot of children who have accents and they've never left these shores. Because everything that they're taking is from the device. And so parents need to engage in conversation with children. Talk to them. Talk about how they're feeling. Talk about how their day went. Talk about what they like doing and what they don't like doing. We have to create that environment in the home. It starts in the home. And so even if a child does not go to daycare until they're 2.5, or even if they start preschool at 3, if they are developing those skills from in the home, then they're not at a disadvantage, because you're catering to the holistic development even in the home.
Definitely. I also read that when a child does not engage in playing in all the activities that you just mentioned, it also can affect the brain development. Talk to us a little bit about that.
The first 3 years,
crucial.
Very,
so critical.
Very. You know, lots of literature would say the first 5 years. I like to bring it down to 3 because I want persons to understand the importance of early stimulation. Those neurons, those synapses, they're firing. That brain development is at its most rapid during that time. So a simple game as peekaboo that we like to play with babies is helping that child to be able to build relationships. It's helping that child to be able to recognize faces. It's helping that child to be able to understand language, because even though the words may not have meaning, they are going to be able to understand language in terms of seeing the formation. So we can't negate how important these things are. nursery rhymes.
Yes.
Singing nursery rhymes, listening to nursery rhymes, reading stories to children from very early. You know, like I said before, these are the foundation, these are the building blocks to then the reasoning skills, the critical thinking skills. And if we look at what are the core competencies, when they talk about the 21st century learner, they're looking at things like communication, critical thinking, creativity. Creativity comes out so much in play.
Yes.
When you imagine and you create things. So it's very, very, very critical for us to understand that even from early, we have to stimulate. We have to, and it doesn't take, you don't have to have a degree. I like to stress, you don't have to go the extra mile. You don't have to have a whole lot of money. Simple conversation, simple stimulation within that home environment goes a long way in preparing that child for the next step.
I was thinking, in my day, they hear the grandparents, talking to the children, but not in English in a sense, You understand what I'm coming from?
The baby language.
The baby language, right. But I think today we've moved away from that, right? And we understand now the importance of actually speaking to the
absolutely.
child.
And speaking to the child using language. That's how they're going to build language. That's how they're going to learn words.
Yes.
That's how they're going to learn vocabulary. By the time a child is 3 years old, they have about 1,500 words in their brains that they just want to be able to get the opportunity to express. So sometimes when a child is just, parents say, oh my goodness, this child would not stop talking. It's because they have so much in there,
taken in
and they
from
want
us.
you to know what they know. They're taking everything in. And so we have to make sure that the environments are positive and that what they're taking in is going to benefit them in a positive way.
I think that's a key word there as well in terms of being positive. Now, let's look at the link between play, literacy, and the importance of reading. We touched on it a little bit, but just emphasize it a lot because parents are very busy these days and we don't even read, for ourselves, furthermore, now reading to the child.
Yes, and everything is on the device. When you read to a child, when you engage a child in conversation, like I said, a child has to hear a language in order to build language.
Yes.
So even something as critical as just looking at words, print has meaning. So the child may not know what the word is, but I would say to you, majority of children, no matter how young they are in Barbados, know Shafet.
Yes.
They cannot spell Shafet, but they associate the colors and they know the shape of that word. And so it is important to expose children to words, to language very early because that's how they build literacy. That's how they're going to be able to see those words later on and it's going to register, they're going to remember. And as they're hearing these words, so when we say door, and you have the word door, then they're going to associate the door with the word door, and they're building that as they grow older. So as they're developing and maturing cognitively, all of these things will now start to fit
together
into that frame and fit together. So we have to expose them to language early.
Definitely. My granddaughter, I love to see her. She'll take up a book and she'll be reading the story as far as she's concerned, and she's reading seriously, and I'm like, I always love to see her do that.
And we call them picture stories. Children interpreting pictures is the beginning of literacy as well. And you would be surprised that you read a story to a child. Now you're reading this story and you're getting tired and you feel like, okay, let me just skip a few pages. And then they're going to say, but no, you missed this part.
Exactly.
And sometimes that can... I don't want to use the word fool a lot of people, but persons may look on and think that, hey, this child is reading. The child has heard the story so many times
of
and
course.
They interpret the pictures that they will make you think that they're reading. But what that does is that is building the foundation for literacy later on.
Yes.
So then when the words do start to take on meaning, that's where the comprehension and the understanding comes in. So sometimes just looking at a picture and talking about what's happening in the picture, that's the beginning of composition writing when they get further up in school.
Well, let's talk about the whole thing of writing and drawing and coloring and as well, and how important that is.
Allowing children to scribble, just
not on the wall though.
not well. They're using lots of PVC now and so on. That's easy to clean. Everybody has to know for themselves.
Yes.
But allowing children to scribble, those are the beginning stages of writing. Allowing them to, they go to nursery and they draw this picture, and mommy and daddy comes and they're looking at it like, what is this?
Yeah.
And the auntie says, and it has a sentence at the bottom that says, we went to the beach, and the child is saying,
this is a
mommy,
beach?
this is you, and daddy, this is you,
And you're wondering, wait a minute.
But that's the beginning, because eventually as the child develops, you're going to see the frame start to take shape. You're going to see the big head with the hand sticking out at the side, and eventually the body will come because it's developmental.
Yes.
And so we cannot take away those beginning stages in terms of those scribblings, because that is the foundation.
So let's go a little bit further now in terms of what happens, as I said, when the child does not engage in playing on a regular basis, that is at home and keep quiet, sit in the corner. The child doesn't get to become more social and learn all these things. What happens to the child?
I have a former principal that used to say, we like to dumb down our children, and I think that's the simplest way to put it. We stifle their development, we hamper their growth.
Yes.
When we do these things, because we're not allowing them to explore, we're not allowing them to express themselves. And it takes me back to when we talk about Erik Erikson and psychosocial development. If we don't allow children to be able to do these things, to assert themselves, to be industrious, to be able to build that self-confidence, then what we're doing is that we are creating challenges then further down. So we have to allow children to be able to build these competencies, these social and emotional competencies, from very early. Research would tell you that if children do not know how to function socially and emotionally, it makes it very difficult to learn. And so play, when we allow them to play and we allow them to build on that social interaction with the adults, with the caregivers, with their peers, we are giving them those competencies that they need in order to be able to learn. And then, Cicely, when they get into the workplace, you don't work as an individual unless you're self-employed, and even if you're self-employed, you may have to hire somebody. So all of that, building from early, from that foundation, you're learning how to interact with other people. You're learning how to depend on other people, because a lot of our relationships are interrelated, and so we see the importance. We learn to resolve conflict from very, very early, and all of those things are done through play. Because if there's one toy, you want it and I want it, we have to learn how to work together as opposed to fighting for it. So play allows for these things to happen at a very early age. And when children, they're going to grow up to be adults. They don't stay. So when we build these positive foundations from early, we are nurturing the type of adult that child is going to become.
So when I look around, I see certain adults that don't really like to interact with other adults. Very private and very, whatever. So obviously something happened in early childhood that would now result in this happening now.
Erikson would tell you, and some people would even go as far back as Freud to tell you that a lot of behaviors that we see in adulthood comes from childhood experiences.
Of course.
So that is something that we have to recognize even as we heal. My son would always say, just because you went through something and you think you turned out okay, that doesn't make it okay.
Exactly.
And so we have to recognize that a lot of us have developed a lot of coping mechanisms over time to be able to function.
Survive, yes.
And so we have to see the importance of allowing children to work through these things from early, because adverse childhood experiences become adverse adult experiences.
I know that, one of my favorite topics.
Yes.
And some parents are very touchless. They don't want the children to say certain things, and they get upset very quickly because, and I tell people that children, they will tell you things, and you have to be able to, maybe walk away sometimes or pretend that but let them talk. And then you digest and take what you want and what you can use and use it for the benefit of you and the child. Our time is going. So just talk to the parents then that are very busy, got no time to be reading, to no child, sit down there and on the tablet and keep quiet because mommy is busy, mommy is stressed out, she had a hard day. How do we talk to them about finding some time in between there for that child that you didn't ask to be here but is now here and you have to help develop?
I would say to those parents, after those long days and those stressful situations, play. Because as adults, we need to play too.
Yes.
And it is very therapeutic.
True.
And so we cannot allow the devices to raise our children. We have to find the time. We have to make the time.
Yes.
And even if it means stopping at the playground on the way home or, you
Which
know,
will
just
calm everybody down.
driving by the beach and watching the sunset, just putting your toes in the sand for 10 minutes. It doesn't take a lot. 10, 15 minutes a day, start a week, and you'll see how it grows. But it would allow the parent the de-stressing, and it allows them to do things together. Fix puzzles, sing a song, play nursery rhymes in the car on your way home. But it's we have to make the time. I don't think we can get away from it. We cannot sugarcoat it.
No.
We have to make time to play with our children, to engage and embrace ourselves in their world.
Yes.
If we are going to help them develop holistically.
Definitely. Ms. Carter, thank you so much. I enjoyed this. This was play for me. I wish you all the best in the rest of the year in terms of the work of the board, because I know you do a lot of work and we really do appreciate it. I know you get a lot of criticism too, but you do a lot of good work, and I want to encourage all the workers of the Child Care Board to continue to do your best for the children of Barbados.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're here to serve the nation's children.
Yes. So thank you so much and all the best to you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We hope that as you listened to this broadcast, you have benefited in some way and feel motivated to apply the information to your parenting experience. Once again, we at Paradise thank you for listening to Pause for Parenting. Remember, parenting is all-encompassing. Parents are their children's first and foremost teachers, guidance counselors, and nurturers. You are responsible for guiding and nurturing all aspects of your child's development, including their cognitive and educational development, as well as their social skills and emotional thinking. I leave you with these words of encouragement. Children are a gift from the Lord, a heritage and a reward, and are not to be seen as burdens. So train your child in the way that he or she should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I wish you a blessed and productive week ahead.
org.